All right, welcome everybody to episode 332 of the Cultra Trail Running Podcast. This episode focuses on the recent running of the Vermont 100, one of the original 4 trail 100-mile races in the United States, which recently took place at Mount Ascutney, Vermont. In the late 60s, the Vermont 100 was just a horse endurance trail ride. It wasn't even a race. Then in the late 70s, horses and riders started competing and they established a 100-mile race. They ended up taking a break in the late 80s until 1988, where they reestablished the race again. And finally, in 1989, they had the first Vermont 100, where 114 runners participated. The race continued to grow until 2004, when they established a new start at Silver Hill Meadow, and in 2008, they added the 100K event. This event continues to be one of the most beautiful races, and certainly is the only race where runners and horses can compete side by side in a 100-mile event. Our very own podcast famous Jamie Myler, a.k.a. Jamie Miller, recently ran, so we take some time to get all the great details from her and her crew. This is a great episode to listen to during a long run and in preparation to either crew or run the Vermont 100 or 100K. We also take some time to recognize the top finishers and some of the friends of the podcast who participated, and in some cases set records at this classic old school event. At the time of this recording, I was not able to find any results for non-binary participants, therefore their results were not highlighted. I hope you guys enjoy this episode as we take a deep look at one of the best races in the country.
From the belly of the Beast Coast, Glastonbury, Connecticut, this is the Cultra Trail Running Podcast. We talk about all the fun shit that happens on the trails that most normal people don't care about. The language we use is f***ing explicit and raw like the trails we run on, so don't listen with your kids! Cultra is brought to you by our Patreons and supporters, and we are 112% listener supported, and support is good.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Cultra Trail Running Podcast. I'm your host, Art Byram, and I am joined today by a amazing group of people because it's not our typical Cultra crew. I'm kind of playing quarterback solo here, and I have a group of people, as I've just explained to you, from Vermont 100. Some friends ran there, namely Jamie Myler. A.k.a. Jamie Miller. Some people may know her as that. I don't know why.
Sub 4, sub 9, if you will.
That's right. Yes, sub 4, sub 9. So welcome, Jamie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and us on here.
Yeah. I also have her crew here because I wanted to get a full perspective of what the race experience was as viewed through a runner and their crew, and it was a crew that I also joined in on. So Alex McDaniel was kind of the, I guess you were the official designated captain of the crew. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't made it official, but
I'm not sure if we use that word, but yeah, just yeah. But fortunately, there were a lot of smart people who made a lot of smart decisions, and so yeah, definitely all of us together. But I think probably have the most at bats being up there, and so just knew some minutia, and so sure we can call it that.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
He's being humble, definitely the captain, no question.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like, how far to the next? Wait, I don't even know where we are. What state are we in? Alex, help us.
He's like 7.23 miles.
That's right.
Mostly uphill, some down, a little bit of trail.
That's right. Everything I said was, I think, Jamie, I said to you, you said, oh, so does the trail get technical from here? And I was like, I don't think it does. I mean,
I could tell you were trying to read me at the time and be like, what does she want to hear? Does she want trails? Does she want roads? You said the right answer, and you were right.
Oh, so, okay. So what was it? What was the answer? Coming out of Margaritaville?
It was mostly roads, and I really wanted to be on roads at that point.
That's kind of how I remembered it. I remembered that it goes from Margaritaville down to eventually to Ten Bear, and it's kind of a downhill thing. And if your legs can take downhill, it definitely gets better, because getting to Margaritaville is hell. And we'll get into that some more. So also Emily Vollmer from New York City. Welcome, Emily.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah. it was a really fun weekend with everyone. Got to get out of the city. So
Good. Yeah. So, yeah, that was great to meet you. I hadn't met you before, and we got to hang out some and to do the crew thing. So that was lots of fun. And then at late at night, we met Jacki Smith. So welcome, Jacki.
Hey, everybody.
And I'm sure most of our Cultra fans who have listened for any amount of time, you guys all know Jacki, and she was there and was a part of the late night scene and the making of the upside down neon J. So wanted to definitely have Jacki on. So
thank you.
So I think I'd like to just kind of start out with a kind of to talk about the race in general before we get into it specifically. Oh, I should also mention that Brandon Hubbard, is that his last name, right? Okay, Brandon Hubbard was, and I just want to say this right on the outset, I didn't know Brandon at all. And I got to hang out with him and have I had such a good time getting to know him because we spent a couple hours sitting back and talking about, it was like having a podcast episode with him. And we had some really good conversations, and he is he's a wonderful person. And I'm sure, if I needed some crewing and some smart dude to help out, he would be the guy, right? So
you guys had a long conversation. That's probably why he needed to fall asleep on a log later.
Yes, that could be. that might be. All right. So I thought we could kind of start out with maybe just a brief, I think most listeners to the show, but I understand that there are people in different parts of the running journey. Maybe you're newer to ultra running and you're still trying to figure out the lay of the land, or the, how the trails are laid out and what Vermont 100 is. So I thought I would ask Alex, because I think, Alex, in that regard, you've been involved with that race more times. So maybe if you could kind of give us a, just your thoughts on the race and kind of a description.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't have all the facts and figures and original dates, but Vermont 100 is what usually people call one of the 4 original trail 100-milers in the United States. So Wasatch, Western States, Leadville, and Vermont, and some people throw Old Dominion in there as a 5th. It takes place in central Vermont, near town Mount Ascutney. Woodstock, Vermont is a very picturesque old town, and there's other places like Heartland and Brownsville and Windsor, and those are other towns you could look up and it'd be near. One thing that makes Vermont different than a lot of other ultras, but similar to Western States, is that it has an origin in common, and it still runs with the horses. So to my knowledge...
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
While Western States started with being Gordy Ainsley jumping in with the horses because his horse went lame, and kind of all the lore around that, Vermont still runs with the horses. You're not with them the whole time, but you overlap with them many miles and many times. So it has this kind of hybrid feel to it where at Silver Hill Meadow, where it starts, you can camp 50 yards away from horses that are in their little paddocks. And on the same day, they say race at go and do their own thing.
Excellent. Hey, Alex, so I just want to point this out. So basically what I heard you say there is that the Western States is no longer running with horses, right? Or the horses are no longer running there?
Yeah. So that diverged pretty early on. And I don't know how many runnings there were together, but it's only 2 or 3 or 4 were they together, and then they split into a separate. Now that's called the Tevis Cup, and Western States, the race split off from the Tevis Cup, so it takes place on the Western States Trail. The horse race is called Tevis, and Western States is called Western States.
Gotcha. Okay, but the Vermont horses are still running, right? They didn't like quit, right?
No.
They're
still there. Yeah, it's a really neat part of it. And there is, much like ultra, there is this kind of niche sub community of long distance endurance horse riders, much in the Western States and maybe a bit in the South. But yeah, people have driven from hundreds or even thousands of miles to come up to Vermont. And much like we see old friends at the start line, people road trip and get together with their horse friends and spend the day riding together.
Yeah, that's really cool. I know that my mom did that. She had a Tennessee Walker, and I don't know if she ever did if she ever did 100 miles, and I probably couldn't really ask her at this point, but I know that she did some distances, and and it's the same thing. They have medical checks for the horses, like mandatory rests and other things like that. And it is really cool because you'll be, I ran the race in 2018, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2018. And you're running along and all of a sudden you hear somebody giddying up behind you there. And so there's a great camaraderie, I think, between the two. It's not, they're not separated, certainly. So that's a great thing. And it's interesting too, that just to mention, this race is, you were probably going to mention Vermont Adaptive, right? That's the main charity for the race, and it's their largest fundraiser for this. And another race that's in that same general area is the Vermont 50, which is interesting because that's not a strictly running, a strict foot race either. That one involves mountain bikes. So
yeah, I haven't done that one, but that seems very popular too. And I know it sells out, and I know people are just absolutely wild. And some years they ride it on their mountain bike, and other years they run it. And so that seems like a big successful one they have too.
Yeah, that was my first 50 miler. I think it was in 2009 or something like that. I kind of forget the year, but something like that. That was my first 50 miler, and it was just rain and caked on mud and a slippery, I had to go up off the trail to get up the hills and hold on to trees to pull myself up because it was so bad. But it was fun. It was great. So let's see.
I'll say one more thing, which kind of might give some context to somebody who hasn't been there. And if you haven't kind of searched it out on YouTube, I think the other thing that makes Vermont different than a lot of the other what we call trail ultras is that it is 70 or 80 miles of road. But don't let that fool you. It's mostly dirt road, but also very, very steep up and down. And so in terms of gain, it's only about 1,000 feet shy or 2,000 feet shy of Western States in terms of the amount of climbing.
Sure. It's like 17,000.
Yeah. I mean, it's depending on whose watch you believe, 16 or 17. And to do that all on where I'd say, 70% of the climbing is on roads with some steep single track here and there. And so you really are, you say, oh, well, it's just road, it should be easy, but not in the middle of New England humid summer and not with all those steep roads coming at you.
Yeah, no doubt. I know that, I guess speaking to the Connecticut runners, most Connecticut runners are used to, when we run trails, if we have a 500-foot climb, that's a very big climb, and that's like something, if you might get 1,000-foot climb, right? Like there's a couple notable ones that you can find out there if you look hard, maybe out on the AT, but this seems to be like the climbs do seem longer. I mean, not as much as some of the ones in the West, but still, I remember there's one downhill section of Vermont, and maybe the section or can speak to it, that seems to just go, it just seems to go on downhill, and it's somewhat late in the race. And it's like, if you can't run this, you're in big trouble.
Well, I know there's a long section from kind of in the mid to late 60s from Brown's Schoolhouse. I think it's 5 consecutive miles downhill with only 1 or 2 little bumps up. And that's great if you are ready to run. But if you've got to hobble that, it's going to be rough. But pretty much 5 straight miles of downhill running on road is a little rough.
Yes. Yeah. I remember running that and having somebody yell at me like, come on, you got to run this. What are you doing? And I'm like, oh, my fucking quads are shot. Are you kidding me? Like, I mean, I ran some, and then I would just have to stop, and, I'd have to take a little break there.
Let the brakes cool down a little bit.
Yes, exactly. All right. So does anybody know any other major? I'm going to give some of the basic stats as in the beginning of this episode, but anybody else have anything in general to say about the race and to give like people who are not familiar with it an idea about it?
No, I have no stats or any like that type of history. I rely on Alex for all of that. But I think one of the cool things that I had observed just from jumping in to help crew in last year was just the feel and the culture of it seems really, really cool. It's just a very like, so many people do it so many years, and you've got all of the running clubs running various aid stations for many, many years. I think that was a really cool aspect of it.
Yeah, I'll jump in on that. That is probably the key characteristic of the race, is that yes, it's a Western States qualifier, but it doesn't wear that on its as a badge of honor up front and like, oh, come to our race, it's a Western States qualifier and you should do this. And it doesn't say, oh, we're part of the Grand Slam, you should go do the Grand Slam because, or go do this race because it's part of the Grand Slam and it's popular and everybody should do it, and put it on your Instagram or whatever like that. It's just like, let's just shut up, have a good time together and go for a run, right?
It's quite the opposite of put it on your Instagram. It's like, do not let anyone see our map and do not post it anywhere.
Right.
Literally,
it's like even worse than like, I deny that the Cut 112 is an event, right? Or a race. But they're like, they're kind of somewhere in the middle
cut
there.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is,
But I think some of that has been a conscious choice. I think they do acknowledge that they're part of the Grand Slam, but as like and they acknowledge the people who've done the slam a bunch of times. But it really felt, I don't know if we chat about this on the side, but it really felt like this year and maybe last year also, they'd kind of made a choice to kind of make it more of a local feeling thing, that they weren't trying, because I think maybe a decade ago, maybe a little more, they were kind of, I think they had gotten certified to be like UTMB qualifier and like this many running stones.
Yeah,
and that
you can get stoned during the race or something.
That was kind of a selling point, and they kind of were like leaning into like more hype, more of that. And it felt like this, if you wouldn't have known this was one of the original hundreds and like a Grand Slam, you wouldn't even have known it from the vibe of the race. You knew that you knew it was 100, you knew that they knew what they were doing, but they'd cut out a lot of flash. And I feel like they had trimmed some fat in terms of, things have been pared down, were a little more minimal. Some things that were manned were unmanned. Some things, it was very like low key. It was, but I think in a good way. Like it felt fit.
Agreed.
It felt cozy also. Yeah.
Yeah. That's always, that's always the balance. Like how much independence and autonomy and, self-determination do you leave to the runner versus how much care and wrapping people up in a blanket and
Art, are we gonna get into that?
Maybe
you don't want to do that?
That happened
right?
last time, right? I think we
yeah.
talked about that in episode 31 or something, or 18 or whatever episode that was. That was our biggest shit show we ever had.
Jamie actually, like, while I was pacing her, like at the very end, she spent like a good 15 minutes explaining to me the old Vermont episode, and then
good.
It ran some time away, which is good.
She's filled in. She's got the play-by-play.
We're all up to speed.
That was one that I actually, how certain pivotal things you remember where you were.
Yes.
I remember where I was. I was mowing my lawn. I was near the trampoline.
Yes.
Actually, I was mowing my lawn too when I heard it. That's really funny.
Did you put the lawn mowing on Strava though?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure I did.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, good. All on the same page, like I said.
It's all official. Yeah.
Okay, so so just as a reference for, we kind of dropped an inside joke there. I want to make sure that people do know about this, is that we have an episode that we released prior that was very controversial, and we kind of had a brawl on the show. We had Steve LeBranche and Becky Burke and Hundo Joe kind of had it out regarding Vermont 100, and honestly, they both had very legitimate concerns and opinions on it, and you know, and felt passionate about their positions. So it was one of the more heated moments.
Without getting into it, I missed that. What's the TLDR? Like, what's
yeah, so let's see if I can do this without getting
and raw.
Like, losing all my friends.
No, but just the topic.
Here's what happened is that it was after 23. It wasn't 23. The
20,
hot year.
2019 was the mega hot year.
Thank you very much. Yes, that makes sense. 2019 mega hot year. Joe ran the race. Becky went there and crewed somebody and was just kind of blown away by the shock of the by the destruction on the course, you know, by people getting destroyed, and felt that there could have been more aid offered to the runners there. I think
they had stopped the medical you know, weighing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because things had changed, you know. I think in 2018, I think I got weighed before the did you get weighed before you ran or no?
No,
Jamie?
okay.
No,
they're not doing that anymore.
Western states dropped that about 10 years ago, and Vermont followed suit.
Yeah, so in 2018 I got weighed, and then got weighed again at camp at 10 Bear 2. Okay, just to make sure that I was good to go. And that I had my act together, like I had to talk to the doctor or something like that. So, which to me is a very dangerous
to like pull it
thing.
together, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh my God. It's like going through a drunk driving test, right? It's like,
hyponatremia.
I hope he just doesn't ask me the fucking alphabet, because I am not up for that right now.
Now, does the doctor talk to you at the start too, so they have like a baseline comparison, or can you just kind of sell it? No, this is who we really are.
I'm like this all the time, honestly. Yeah. So no, it wasn't like that. They were. I don't even remember if they. I think at this. I guess I stepped on a scale the second time, or maybe they just talked to me or something like that. The doctor just kind of gave me a quick good and a thumbs up, and we were good to go. So, but at any rate, that was, Alex, that's kind of what it was about. It was about the idea of, hey, runners have to go in, you know, Joe's opinion, I think to summarize it probably incorrectly, was I think that runners should be self-supporting and should know what they're doing out there, and then the responsibility is all on the runner. And I think Becky kind of argued for the side of, yes, but you know, people need to step in, you know, for the sake of humanity. So and you know, and it's a great conversation, you know, and I think they're both correct in certain circumstances, right? So but people also felt very attached. Like Becky had the experience of just having been there and witnessed this. And Joe had the experience of, hey, I've run this race 10 times or X, you know, I guess at that time, probably 10 times. Since then, you know, another 6 times. And these are my friends, so don't criticize me, you know. And both of those are, I respect both of those 100%, 112%.
I mean, there are a lot of like good conversations about this. I think about it a lot in terms of social contract. Like if everybody knows what the social contract is, then usually people aren't upset. Correct. But for instance, like you get into things with like, I've gotten into these conversations with course markings. Yes. Where there's some courses that like literally tree to tree, you know, everything is marked. And then there are others where like, well, carry a fucking map, you know, get like, you should know the
there's
course.
Blue blazes on the trees.
There's blue blazes. Like there's no,
be nice to Jimmy.
No, but it's just,
no, that's like, me. I was talking about me, but I wasn't,
I was thinking of a different race, a different state, you know, which I won't name.
and so like, if you go into say Jimmy's blue to blue challenge, thinking that there's going to be a flag from every tree, you're going to be frustrated. But Jimmy is quite explicit in all the briefings. This is the social contract. Have it on your phone. Know the course. Recon the course. So he has established a social contract, and you're opting into that. And so it's totally fine because he is telling you this is what the party is. You are invited if you want to come.
If you want to dance.
In the same way that, like, you know, you go to like a pricier, higher profile race that's in hot weather like Western states, they literally will have, I don't know, 150 tons of ice, or I mean, there's some like Like it's some mind-boggling amount of ice, and they will literally give you 5 pounds of ice at every aid station to put everywhere. And so, like, are you used to that in hot weather? Like, are you used to like what are you expecting versus what are you getting? And it's like, is that reasonable? Is that unreasonable? Did they like provide what they said they were going to provide? So I think a lot of these things are like social contracts that you establish with like your pre-race briefing and your materials and things like that. Like, did Vermont provide what they said they were going to provide? And then like, well, it was hot,
Yes. That's a great, that's a wonderful conversation. And the thing that, I wondered about that all the time. Like people, as race director, like I just filled out a survey for Vermont. And now based on what you said, I was like, maybe I should have thought about my response more, because I was like, oh, let's fix it. Let's make it fucking better, and add more. And maybe the answer sometimes is to pull things away, who knows, like, because I was thinking, oh, they could have, you could have swimming pools if you wanted to,
I'm not sure I ever would have gotten out of a swimming pool. So that's actually a trap. That could be interesting.
It could.
Who just stays at the swimming pool?
Yes. Okay. So I would love to talk about, we could talk about that topic, I think, all night, because that's a key one. And maybe we will sometime. That's actually maybe another episode. So, which I'd like to talk about some more sometime. So I thought what we could do now, though, I would just like to kind of go through the different races. So there's a 100-mile race and a 100K race. And so I just wanted to recognize some of the people that we know that ran those and the top finishers in those. So guys, feel free to jump in as I do this. So first up in the 100-miler, Justin Scheid, who is not related to Katie Scheid. Just saying.
That was actually my first thought, what I thought.
Yeah, they should be. Imagine if they did that and then they could, I don't know.
Power couple.
I know they'd like to meet, but they're both too shy.
that was awful.
Okay, I know. I have like all Patreon commentary on everybody here, so this could take like 4 hours in itself. Next up, second. Okay, so Justin ran it in 15:37:07, which is pretty stout there. I think coincidentally, I think Brian Rusecki still has the course record on that.
14 change.
Yeah, the race director's husband, right?
Yeah, that's a little sus.
Or not. You decide. Next episode. We have Thomas Hanlon, who is no relation to Amy Jennifer Hanlon.
What about Amy Jennifer Hanlon's sister?
Could be.
Okay.
Could be, or her friend. Then, and these are the men winners. So we have Connor Callahan, Matthew Vosberg, and Chase Smith from Connecticut. That's a great name, right? That's a good running name.
It is, and they're from
Smith.
Connecticut. And
yeah,
do we not know him?
I don't know him.
I think he's southern Connecticut. I think I looked up his name one other time. So, but Chase, reach out to us, chase us down, or Smith us down.
Now he won't.
That's right. Great. Thanks, Art. Also, I saw Joshua Finger. He got 7th place. I ran with Joshua at the one-day race in 2014. So, he's a great runner. I saw his jacket and I liked it, so I bought one like it. So he's my hero. So love you, Josh. All his friends are gonna say, "Hey, did you hear that shit they're talking about? What's up with you?" Okay. We have at 16th place, Mark Machine Gun Kelly. It looks like they were holding hands with Tom the Destroyer Stardy. So those guys pulled in a stout 1937.
Was anyone at the finish? Were they fighting? Were they?
One can only assume so. I'm sure there were comments were dropped, and
I meant
shit
finish,
was said,
but,
right?
I'm sure shit was said.
Yeah. So that's really cool. 34th place, and I also want to just apologize to everybody that I'm missing, that I'm not going to mention. So if that happened, call me up and give me shit for that, and I'll give you I'll dedicate an episode in your honor, and say stuff.
Yeah, one of the
about
cool things about this race is that so many people we know go.
Yes.
And so it's kind of a homecoming of sorts. So people that I know I haven't seen probably close to a year that are all in different states now, and they all kind of show up. So I'm sure we're gonna have some people. There's just so many there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have Chris Rosall, knows all, sees all. He knocked out a 21-hour run. We have Tyler Tullock came back. So Tyler was a Connecticut guy, relocated out to, I guess he maybe went to Vermont first and then went to Arizona.
I don't know about Vermont, but
well, he did. He did this last weekend, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure that's relocation, but it's close.
I have the order.
One could say.
Yes. And then Sean Meehan. So Sean looks like 72nd place. So he's in sub 24. Chris Coangelo. He got a sub 24, 23:35. So that's good to see him. Eric Wester. So he would have gotten sub 24, but he wested too much. But he did get a 27:27, which is pretty good considering that he did, Then Justin Carreri. So Justin is our dude who has been at the cut probably 5 times and was a first-time finisher this year. So got to see Justin a couple times, saw him at 10 Bears, saw him up at Margaritaville and at the finish line. So
can I just say how impressed I am by people? It's one thing to DNF a race like once or twice and come back, but like 4 or 5 times and coming back to finish it. And then there's this lady at Vermont who had DNF Vermont 9 times in a row and came back and finished on her 10th try. And then I think finished again this year or something like that. I mean,
I don't think she made it this year.
Not this year. Okay.
But I ran with her for a little bit. She was awesome.
I was trying to wrap my brain around DNFing something 9 times and still coming back.
Yeah.
And then getting it done. That's a whole nother level of dedication.
Yes.
Pretty impressive. Yeah. I agree.
Especially that he did that on the cut, because it's not like, oh, I didn't get my 5K PR. It's like, oh, fuck. I just pulled my fingernails out and it doesn't count. And I have to go back again and have my stomach pumped, go to therapy, blood transfusion, and now I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
So, no, that was awesome to see him, with another success that close to it.
That's good.
And then Rob the Bear Breckenridge. So Rob ran over at Notchview with me 2 weeks ago, he didn't run, he crewed. And
I was like, wait, what?
He had, no, there's people who did that though. So Rob went and he had a box of gloves that were like 100 gloves, and he went through them, like dressing blisters and fixing people's shit up. Like he was just making people better.
Awesome.
And like every time I saw him, he was on point. So he got some good karma.
Good.
And finished in the golden hour. So congratulations to Rob. It was a emotional finish, and there were also a bunch of friends who went there and and didn't finish. So, for you guys, I'm sorry that, that the day probably didn't turn out the way you wanted to. So, and that's that. So, maybe we'll go to the 100-mile female finishers. Former guest of the show, Jenny Hoffman. Congratulations. She got in 17:29 for the win, right? Which is pretty impressive. Second, we had Sarah Aponte. Third, we had Laura Newton from Vermont. Fourth, Ashley Hensel Browning from Vermont. And fifth was one of the Cultra OGs, Jordan Grande, Dr. J.
Yay, Jordan.
Yay.
The Jag. So she went and she ran, I think, 3 hours maybe almost about 2 hours, 3 hours slower than the last time that she ran there. But this one, she worked so damn hard for this, according to Steve, and from when I saw her at 10 Bear, she had stomach issues from the beginning and just kind of powered through it and got 5th place overall. Right. So, got on the podium. I think last time she was 8th place. So, this is a better, a better showing overall there. So congratulations to her.
Yeah. It's the women's race seemed interesting because in the first 30 miles, it seemed like the women were again really sending it for a bunch of 18-hour finishes like last year. And Jenny Hoffman seems like the only one that held on. In fact, Jenny Hoffman was saying that she was running scared for the last 30 miles. And it was only after the finish that she realized that she actually had a 3-hour lead. She thought that there was somebody one turn behind her the whole time.
Yes. Now that's a good crew, right?
Yeah.
Just laying down some solid
graduate level bullshit. Somebody else was on 17-hour pace and they DNF'd at Bill's. And so it turns out that she could have she was 3 hours ahead of the second place woman. So
Wow. Impressive.
But yeah, I think everybody tried to kind of break themselves trying to win.
Yes. You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. I think there's a time and a place for that, right? Yeah. I mean, you know what? That's like a Prefontaine move, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to run this.
What you're doing.
I'm running this race to win it. I don't want second place.
Yeah.
And
there are a lot of
place.
dudes who do that on accident. They say, I'm not going to do that.
That's just every race.
But then they act like they're doing that.
Yeah.
I'm just here to destroy myself.
You don't know any of those.
I don't care if I win.
We did notice at Pretty House that there were a lot of people who came in and beat their crew, and their crew wasn't there waiting for them. So we were joking around about how much carnage there was going to be later in the day.
Oh my God!
But it was so nice in the morning.
Yeah,
it was so nice. But Jamie and I were also talking about the Excel spreadsheets that Vermont provides that has expected pace. It's not based on collective wisdom. The cutoff times at different aid stations is based on years of accumulated wisdom of you got to be out of 10 Bear at blank because otherwise you're not going to get to 76 by blank. On the crew directions, they give how 24-hour pace is 14, 20 something or whatever.
Sure.
They literally just took an Excel spreadsheet and said 14:27 pace times 20 miles equals this time of day. So they just assumed even splits, but that's early on, right? You're cruising. You're in the light, you're fresh.
I gotcha.
It's the easiest part of the trail. So I was telling Jamie that we had to be careful because some of those are off by as much as an hour on the early aid stations.
Interesting. That's probably valuable feedback, right?
Yeah. Because it's
because nobody's running, very few people are running even splits, right?
I mean, it would be really hard. It'd be really hard to even split that race.
Yeah. And another thing that I feel like complicates that and beating your crew a bit is another little kind of tidbit about the race, which is there's no service basically in the entire perimeter of where crews are driving and where runners are running. We got a couple texts from Jamie, one of them saying that she had just had PBR,
what? No, I didn't do that. Not in a race. Yeah, it was if I saw a couple bars, I'm I'll give them an update. But yeah, usually there's nothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't have any service up there this weekend. I had to drive to the butcher and pantry to get 2 bars to be able to put in ways to be able to get around.
Right.
Gotcha. Wow.
Yeah.
So Alex, do you know anybody, and I have one, do you know anybody who's run a negative split 100 miler?
So no, I don't, but the first couple of years I did the race, I bumped into a guy named Dan Larson pretty often.
Yeah.
Dan Larson used to do things like Warramug. He did a bunch of stuff in the Northeast. And at his peak, he was coming in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th place a bunch at Vermont 100. So it's going to shock absolutely no one, but I would pull up they used to have these really good splits for Vermont, and like how long did it take to go from this, and what were like typical splits, and like Dan's results were really outliers in that he would go out in like 200th place to say Taftsville, and he would finish 8th in the race. And so I would like literally, I was like, what is this guy doing? And like literally his place would improve by 10 people every aid station through the whole race. And like, so I actually like, you start getting, I was sort of be like, okay, it's 7 miles from here to here. Even Dan passing 180 people was still slightly slowing down. So because the last 30 miles is harder than the average rest of the race.
Yes.
And it's in the dark, and you have 70 miles on your legs. So it's like you're fighting against, maybe it's cooler. Okay, it's that. But other than that, you have a bunch working against you. So even Dan was at best kind of almost breaking even, but still slightly slowing. But yeah, that's about as much as you can do.
Yeah, my only one is Jay Mitchell ran Hard Rock negative split.
Okay,
which is like pretty bizarre, But
there's a Jameel Curry story where he took a 6-hour nap at the mile 40 aid station at Hard Rock.
Yes,
and then technically negative split because of the 6-hour nap. So then he like ran in the last like 60 miles pretty quick,
Okay.
But,
wow.
Big asterisk next to that.
Yes, gotcha. Okay, so also coming in at the 100-miler, Caitlin Rossi, 25.
Hey,
18.
Caitlin.
Really nice job. Jennifer, why not? So
why
Jennifer,
not?
Yeah, she came up and said hi to me. I ran hamster wheel with her. She came up and said hi to me, and I kind of gave her the deer in the headlights look, like I know you, but I don't know you. I mean,
hey, you.
And yes, yeah, hey. So she helped me out and was kind enough to help me out by reintroducing herself. But so congratulations to her. She had a great race coming in around 26. Let's see, Melissa Arnold came in. That's great. And then let's look at and Jamie Myler, right?
I was going to say, I finished the race. Come on, at least say my name.
You sure did, yes. And right after Jamie, Tech Ung finished. I don't know, did you get to run with Tech at all or no?
I am not certain.
Okay, so Tech ran the 100-mile at Notchview the weekend before.
Wow.
So took her, did both of them, and then she stayed up all night with Monkey Stuffer Reagan Fitzgibbons, and crewed, worked the aid station and had to put up with me every 1.9 miles.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So big congratulations to Tech. That's that's awesome. She came in the golden hour there. And then let's see, I guess then we can go to the 100K, right? I mean, some big news at the 100K, especially with friends of our community here. Cole Crosby ran a smoking hot 9:16:50 for a new course record.
Wow, that is crazy.
For the 100K, yeah.
And it was either Rozecki or Ian Sharman who had the 100K course record. I think that was somebody pretty legit had said it back in the 10 years ago.
Yeah, I didn't see who that who he got that from. So, but congratulations to him. I know that he I read his kind of a little bit of a write-up on it, and just sounds like he just, instead of like beating himself up over, oh, I got to pass this guy or I got to do this or that, he kind of just stayed in the moment, kind of sounds like the flow state, just found that pace to run and ran his race and focused on, keeping his mind calm and, didn't panic and just ran a race and, and did well. And then second place was Felix Heron. with the 950, which is that's very legit too. So
I guess that's good.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And let's see, Antone.
The Betancourt.
I was gonna see. I go there right away, right? Bernatchez. So congratulations to him. Natty Montoya with the 1024, and then Adam Ribeiro, both Massachusetts guys. Brian Risecki in at 1101, and let's see. I also saw Lin Zhao Lin came on he was from Mount to Coast, had him on a couple episodes back. Lin I met over at Lake Warmug.
Guys, I'm going to pop off for a few minutes.
Yep.
I'll come back in a minute.
Okay. All right. Sounds good, Alex. Yep. Eli Barakian. Eli came on the show a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Talked to us about running across Iceland and setting an FKT there. And then Jason Kaplan. Let's see. Also, okay. And I apologize if I'm missing, if I'm missing some of our friends in there too. Let's look at the women's 100K. So Joanna Fortier.
We'll go fancy with the 48.
I think that is correct. That it's a French.
Yeah, obviously.
Yes. Probably did the Tour de France just before this race, or took a leave of absence from the tour.
I heard that rumor. Yeah.
Back joining the peloton. Marie-Eve Pelland. So Joanna ran it in 10:36, and Marie-Eve came in 11:45. So Stacia Broderick, Erica Thomas, and then Debbie Livingston in at 5th place. So congratulations, Debbie, a local Connecticut legend. So congratulations to her. Let's see, Nicole Cash and Carey. Mm-hmm. So Nicole Carey came in, did a great job doing that. And and again, I'm sure there's probably a couple others in there. Call me up and yell at me if I forgot any of those. So all right, so I thought now we could probably make sense to kind of talk about Jamie, talk about your race, right? So first of all, like why Vermont? What was it about Vermont that made you like, how did this all happen here?
Well, I mentioned last year, Alex was crewing for a friend of ours from the Ramblers. And I jumped in for a little while, and kind of helped out with, Alex and, the guy's wife. And it was awesome. Like the culture, the feel of it was really, really cool. And so, that started I'll say again, maybe I should do this race. But I say again, because, a couple years ago, I think back in 22, Vermont was actually supposed to be my first 100. And we were all trained, like I had my crew together, I had my Airbnb, like I felt really fit going in. We were doing like lots of really good training runs. And I got COVID 2 weeks before the race. And I was trying to cling to hope. I was like, well, maybe it's like really mild and it'll just run its course and I can still do the race. But it got pretty nasty. Not nearly as bad as some, but pretty uncomfortable. And there was no way I could do that race.
Gotcha. So, was that the year that you ran? After that, did you run mid-state?
Yeah, after that, I ran mid-state in the fall. As my actual first 100.
Gotcha.
But I was pretty heartbroken not to run Vermont, because when you're that like in the mode and ready and pretty pumped for it, that was rough. I couldn't even conceptualize not doing that race.
Yes.
That was rough.
Yep. Gotcha. Yeah, because I think as you kind of found out with the culture at Vermont, it is just such a it's such a feel good experience, from like everywhere you turn there. It was
Well, I don't know
actually
if I felt good everywhere I turned, but many places I
yeah.
turned.
Well, the night before, so like just as an aside here, going to so I ran the Cut 112 in 2018, right? And then later in 2018, soon after that, Vermont came up, right? So and I went there the night before and we camped out as people do for this race. And sitting around the night before, we just sat around for probably an hour or so, a bunch of runners, and it was the first time I saw some of the people that had crewed and who had that we had run together, and we started just sharing stories about the Cut 112 there at Vermont. And I was like, oh my God, what we're doing right now is what I want to do. I want
Oh, so that
more.
was the start. That's the origin story.
That was part, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that led to it, but that was a key moment in Cultra history, was sitting around Vermont on Friday night, talking about running, just laughing our asses off. Like, yeah, remember the time you swallowed a moth in the back of your throat and you started coughing and choking and we all laughed at you, and then you threw up, and then we laughed at you more, and then you started laughing, and then we went and we kept going, and then
the moth came out your nose.
Yeah. And it was just great stuff. So anyway, so yeah, to get that, I can understand knowing that there were moth throwing up stories involved and you were going to miss out on those. I could understand your devastation. So all right, so then what happened next as far as the assemblage of the crew?
Well, the assemblage of the crew came together, I guess, in bits and pieces. So Alex was kind of a given. He was like, he's the crew captain here. He knows everything about Vermont. He gets very pumped about Vermont. And honestly, both the last time I trained for it and this one, he did probably the majority of the planning for my training runs too, because he'd just be like, oh, we're going to do this run because it sort of mimics the uphill and the downhill, and we're going to do it in the middle of the day because it's super hot. And, so he's been involved for a while, although this year we were scared to like actually say that because we were afraid of like the set off the set of events that happened before the last one. So we're like, looking at it sideways. But then Emily, I actually I needed a qualifier for Vermont because I did 100K this year, but it was a hot, desert, hilly, mountainous race and did not make quite the cutoff for Vermont's qualification requirements. So I did rock the ridge at a friend's recommendation out in New York.
And that's in the Gunks, right?
Yeah. Yep. And it's a cool race. It's kind of similar-ish to Vermont because it's like some gravel, but it's like not bad gravel. Hilly and it was
it's like
great
carriage
race.
paths.
Yeah, that's the word. And Emily was in that, and we ended up running probably like 20 miles or more. I don't know.
Yeah, it was 20. I passed you, or like I was about to pass you, at mile 30. And
you can say you passed me. It's cool.
No, and I was like bored and I was just made conversation and said something about how like the course markings had changed, and we hit it off and ended up running the rest of the race together and bonded and towards the end she had kind of signaled, she has like a lot of running friends and she's like deep in the ultra community. And so just at the end I was like, I'm sure you have it covered because you know so many people, but if you ever need any crew or pacers, like let me know, like I'd love to. And she's like,
dangerous thing to say.
And when you said that, you were joking, right? You were just being polite, right?
Get this woman away from me, like I'm gonna start running away now and let me know if you need any help. But no, And she was like, actually, so many of my friends are running Vermont that I am actually in need of a crew and pacer for that one specifically. And so that's how that all kicked off. And it was great. I'm glad I said that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So Emily, what do you do, if you wouldn't mind telling us, what do you do for a living?
A PhD student at NYU Vilchek right now. So doing like an immunology type thing. So basically I'm unemployed, and that's like a fancy way of saying that.
Okay, but
you're
you,
grad student.
but you're also a smarty pants, right? So
Very much. She had
debatable.
like many fun facts and things to
Yeah.
share.
So like Jamie, maybe you could kind of sum up like your crew in general, like because like it seems like, you know, I know Brandon is like pre-med, right?
He's an MD PhD,
Yes.
and is toward the end of that MD piece.
That's
so,
right. He didn't take his Band-Aid class yet, though, right?
yeah, that was
He
hilarious.
did. I actually offer college credits for that, so he could probably have him transferred from the Cultra University over to Yale, where he is a student. So,
but yeah, like and you know, I'm not not good at planning things like crew and stuff like that. I'm a bit of a procrastinator, so I sent kind of a probably a couple weeks in advance of the race text to you know, a set of friends who I thought might be down for it, including Art and Brandon and a few others, and we're like, hey, if anyone would like to help out crewing, just because I knew like crewing is hard. Like it's important for a crew to take care of themselves as much as their runner, or it can go really, really south for all involved. And I didn't want it to end up like, you know, Alex and Emily having to do every minute of that thing because it would get ugly. So
yeah.
Brandon jumped right on board, and then Art jumped on board as well to help out for a while. So yeah, that completed the crew.
Gotcha. Yeah, for me it was just I wanted to help, but I was with coming off 100-miler the weekend before.
Yeah, that's hit or miss. You never know what's gonna happen.
And I also know that, like, you know, doing this 48-hour race was a was a big time commitment for my family. And then to say, oh yeah, so I know last weekend I went and hung out in my van and spent the weekend away. I'm gonna do that again this weekend,
But this time they were probably like, it's cool, go ahead.
But now I'm like gonna be even more sleep deprived and be like out of my mind. So for me that's always a big challenge. So
thanks for doing that.
I was glad that I could help for the period of time that I was able to help, and kind of play like a relief. I was kind of like the transitional relief pitcher. I just got us through one of the innings and enough for the closer. I took it from the starter, and was just the utility player. So glad to do that.
That was super. Sorry to jump back in, but that was super important. That really that was a big help.
Good. Well, I'm that made me very happy. So I also got to hang out with everybody from TARC over at the the trail.
Oh yeah, they're pretty cool.
Over at 10 Bear, and that was just a blast hanging out there, I gotta say. And just watching.
I'm wearing their t-shirt, their 10 Bear t-shirt.
There you go. Yeah, those are very nice. So a place so nice you'll visit it twice, right?
And that is what the t-shirt says.
Yes. Okay, so I kind of interrupted you and hijacked the whole conversation, as I usually do. So what happened next, Jamie, as far as like assembling the plan and your training and stuff? Like how let's start out. Like how was your training? I know lots of times life gets in the way, but how was your training going into this? What do you feel like?
My training wasn't as good as I would have liked, and definitely not as good as in some past years for me. I got a new job this year, which has been totally crazy. A lot of hours and work. And
you got a promotion.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Very good.
Thanks for
Got
that.
promotion.
In a smarty pants field too, right?
Yes. I,
And
I work for R&D for
Mhm.
Unilever.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, it's been pretty intense, and I've been doing a lot of focus on work, but also, not trying to drop things with my family and train for 100-miler, which is a lot. So probably not the wisest of choices on my part. So I think my training was okay and,
Mhm.
you know, decent enough to get me to a finish, but it wasn't a comfortable one, I guess,
Yeah.
spoiler alert. And yeah, it just wasn't as much mileage and as much intensity as they would have done in past years. And I guess at a certain point, you just kind of have to accept that and be like, this is what it is, and that's what this year is.
I think like for me personally, like to some degree, every race is that way, right? Because every race you're going to show up and you're going to be like, you know what? I'm not 100%. I mean, maybe sometimes it does happen. Okay. But like, I'm not 100% trained, or this isn't the absolute perfect weather, or it's not, there's something that's going to happen here, and I'm going to do the best that I can on this day. And, have the experience that I want to have here, and whether that is, whether that manifests in a result, or in the fulfillment of a process where, where we set out and say, okay, I don't care what my time is. I just want to go out and feel like I gave it my all today. Like if I do that, I know I'm good,
Yeah. And that's something that I will say, Alex did a really good job of helping me to reframe going into the race, which was, that this year probably isn't one to focus on trying to get a certain time or, PR or do anything like that really. And the focus of like, hey, let's just have a really good time with really good people. And I think for about 50 miles, I really succeeded at the good time. And
That's
then on and
right
off
there.
throughout later on. It was a roller coaster beyond that. But yeah, I think that was an important reframing of like, what's the goal of this race?
So how would you summarize, what was the goal then? How would you frame the goal of this race?
I wanted to like run it well. So I did want to be, not as in pain as I ended up in the end. And just to like well execute the race, but also, just have a good weekend with a really cool crew, with all the volunteers, with the atmosphere, stuff like that. So yeah, kind of the major goals, and obviously finish the race if possible.
Good. Okay. You know what? And that's no small feat. I mean, Alex, I think you have some, and I'm throwing you on the spot here. I know that you had put together some stats, some general stats of the race. Like in general, what was the DNF rate this year?
I think it was right at 20%, give or take a percent.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and Vermont's one of these that if it gets more thunderstormy or more hot or some combination of those, it can very quickly get to like a 70% finish rate or a 60% finish rate. I have to look back at this really horrible 2019 year. But it's something like a 58 or 60% finish rate. And the median times are like 28 hours is like the median finish time. Like people were really just scraping around the course.
Yeah.
That's like the golden hour.
Yeah, it was a lot of golden hour. And there was like, if you look back at some of the really peak years in terms of competitiveness, were something like the 2012, 2014, things like that, where like I think 130 people finished under 24 hours. I mean, really big years where like I was kind of very popular. A lot. There was less choice in terms of like
Yes.
Aravaipa didn't have all their stuff. There wasn't all these
Understood.
other races,
And
so,
nobody
like,
was concerned as much because you could get into Western states, or you could get, you know.
Yeah, and there just wasn't now there's so many more choices that I think the kind of like slightly more elite dudes are a little more spread out. But yeah, we're just like, people were just sending it, and then it's a race where like the conditions always matter, but like it's Vermont on paper seems like it should be easier than it is in practice. Like in practice, on an average year, 30% of the people don't finish. And I think there's some reasons for that, but it's like, oh, you're like, oh, it's 80 miles of road. Like, how hard is that?
Yeah, and you can't, a lot of, especially to some outsiders who look at a temperature and say, oh, well, okay, so yeah, it's 2023, 2019 was hot, but these other years, oh, it was warm, but you know, it's not as hot as Devil's Thumb, but it's a different hot, right?
It really is. And even just like this year, actually, I think was like really fair in terms of like, it wasn't that humid. And I think even overnight, there was really the potential for it to be really sticky, and it just wasn't as sticky as it could be. But like other years, I mean, if you've ever been to Stage Road on a hot year, or like been to Camp 10 Bear on a hot year as a crew, it is one of the less pleasant places like on earth. Like if you have to like just sit there for like, if you have to just sit at like Stage Road for like 2 hours in the baking sun, it is unpleasant. Like it's not a good place to be. Like,
well, that one that like Alex had this giant umbrella over me while I was like in the aid station, and even I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and he like walked along with me, like shading. It was very good.
Well, like literally, she came in, and like before you did anything at the aid station, we put the ice bandana around your neck and put the umbrella over you, because you see people just literally sitting in the baking sun, not feeling good, and they're like, oh yeah, I don't feel great, and you're like, well, let's get you some shade and some, like, don't just sit there in the boiling sun continuing to feel worse, like, you know. So yeah, just sitting in the Vermont sun on a hayfield is not a good way to recover.
Yes. So let's go, if you wouldn't mind. I'd like to kind of go through, is there anything you want to talk about pre-race, or maybe we can get into the actual race and stuff like that?
Yeah, no,
okay. So let's talk about the start line. So you got to the start line. What was that experience like?
The experience was I was, as usual, late.
Nice.
So, well, not late to the start, but later than our plan. So we wanted to get there around 3:30 in the morning. It starts
for a 4 o'clock start. Yep.
And that seemed like a good time to, you know, get in, check in, all of that. And I think we were only probably like 15 minutes late or so. But 15 minutes makes it a lot tighter. To check in, to use the outhouse, to do everything you need to do. And I was probably moseying along more than I ought to. And then like I was still kind of trying to walk into the start corral when they're like 5, 4, 3. I was like, okay, forget the picture. I guess I'll just go in here.
Okay.
So I just, you know, jumped in and flowed into the thing.
And had your bib on and everything, right?
I did. I actually, there was one race, Run Amok, which is also put on by Amy Ruzecki, that I just totally forgot to get my bib. Like I was in the start corral, and I think it was like Mark Kelly or someone was like, where's your bib? And I was like, I didn't check in. And they were like getting ready to start. I'm like, shit. So I like run over and get my bib and line back up. So I did have my bib this time, though.
Okay. All right. That's a big plus. I went to one of Vanderheiden's races and just didn't get there in time, and was trying to figure out the phone app to sign up. And like, it wasn't working for Boomer that morning. So he was like, fuck it, just run. Okay. And we'll figure this out when
like,
you're done.
pay me back
Here's
later.
your bib. Give him a bib. He'll pay us later. You know? Okay, so you started the race. Did you have any? I know some people, given that it's starting at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's obviously dark. Beginning part's a little bit technical, I guess, but it's still cooler. What were your thoughts on like your approach? Like, did you have a strategy there, or had you thought about it much, or were you gonna just show up and see how it went?
So my strategy was just not to go out super fast, even though, it felt cool and everything was fine. I don't mind a little technical. The cut, although that's a pretty smooth race, it's got some technicality to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I wasn't bothered at all by anything technical. And I was just focused on keeping the pace down, keeping my heart rate down. If I ever started to feel out of breath or not be conversational, like very, easily conversational, I'd slow down, and just really power walking the ups and jogging the downs and the flats.
Jamie, I have a question. We didn't get a chance to process it. The first couple of miles, it's a lot of people off the start lines, like 260 or 280 or whatever. How quickly did it feel? It was crowded and then it spread out? Like, did you have people to run with? What was it like the first?
I feel like at that point I had people to run with. It didn't feel like crowded, but there were for sure like people around me. And you'd see the usual where you get out there and some people are flying past you and things like that. And I tried not to, let that bother me and like, oh, I need to pick up the pace because people are passing me, because, it's the start of 100 miles. So that probably doesn't matter too much. So yeah, there was a good amount of people around me, and, try to make conversation and things like that as we went. But at that point, I feel like people are moving in and out quite a bit. So you don't really settle in with anyone specific for a while.
Gotcha. So how did the earliest part of the race, like first like 20 go? Anything eventful happening there or that you recall offhand?
No, not really. Honestly, it was great. I was in a great mood. I think I was pacing pretty well. I was actually constantly kind of checking myself, making sure I wasn't going too fast. And I didn't have goals to get like times to get into the aid stations. I was really trying to play it by feel a little bit, and just
sure,
because I didn't really know what to expect given my fitness level. And it was just like, I think I did a very good job of like staying in the moment and, just enjoying the day. It was lovely out, enjoying the sunrise, the scenery, stuff like that.
Nice.
Which was just really cool. So,
gotcha. So how did it progress from there? Like the next, maybe like 20 through 50,
So,
well, at 20, we saw Jacki.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty house.
Good
right?
one. Yeah. Cause Jacki was there. She came running out as we were like walking past, and, we hopped into some photos and things like that. So that was, really exciting. Just,
Gotcha.
I forget like a lot of things while I'm running, and, I'm not, so it was like, I forgot that you were even going to be there. And I was like, oh yeah, it's Jacki. So that was quite the boost.
It was a kind of a last minute decision. I ended up emailing Brad as we're getting down to the wire. I'm like, hey, can you use an extra set of hands? It was kind of very last minute. And then once I knew I was going there, then I messaged Alex. I'm like, I'm going to come find you guys later.
Gotcha. So you were at Pretty House? Is that where you were?
Yeah, I was there all day, the whole time with the Schnips at Striders.
Oh, great. So, that had I guess that's a traditional spot for them. And at that point, it's kind of mostly all fun and games, right?
Yeah.
Like, did you see many people come in who looked questionable or looked like they were in any trouble or distress, or was everybody?
There were a few that looked like maybe went out a little too fast or whatever, and they were, trying to readjust, especially some later on in the time that aid station was open. But I would say most of the people that came through looked really fresh. They looked great. And like I said, there were a bunch that were there and their crews weren't there. So it turned into trying to find their crew after the fact. And but yeah, no, it was a fun spot because it hadn't gotten really hot yet.
Yes.
So it's still early enough in the event. So people are still feeling good.
Yeah, yeah.
And Pretty House is such a wonderful spot. It's pretty much all in the shade.
Yeah.
It's like just this like idyllic spot.
It's pretty.
It's up on a hillside, like in the trees.
Is it like a really pretty house?
And there's a pretty house.
Yeah.
Like,
which I didn't get a picture of. All the pictures I took, I forgot.
It's one of these things like certain landscapes where like you look at it and it's like, that's a pretty house. And then you take a picture of it and it's like mid. Like you just, it somehow doesn't capture, it's like a sunset or like an eclipse or something like that where you're like, this is amazing. And then the picture, no matter how good the camera, doesn't do it. So
yeah, even the view at where the aid station was looking, because the way that you guys would take off after that to like see the landscape behind, like further in the distance. I just thought it looked absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, you're right. My pictures didn't do it justice.
Gotcha. There's a couple spots in the course that are really beautiful. Now, what Alex, can you help me out? Sound of Music. What
26.
26. Okay. I knew it was during the beginning of the course, but so Jamie, do you remember running through Sound of Music, or you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I know. That one's hard to miss. But yeah, so when I left Pretty House, I ended up running for a little bit with that woman. Was it Maria or Marie?
Yeah, I think it's Maria. Yeah.
And she was awesome. She was wearing these sunflower shorts. She was like lovely to talk to. And she actually kind of gave me a heads up, like, hey, in case we like get separated, like you're gonna do some ups and some downs and then a really rough climb, but it's going to be all worth it because you're going to get to the Sound of Music and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I'd heard obviously the Sound of Music before with respect to Vermont. But yeah, once I started like the bigger climb there, I was like, oh, this is probably it. So
what is it exactly for the listeners?
So you're climbing and you're going through woods and on roads and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden it opens up to this like beautiful open field on top of a hill or mountain. I don't know what it's classified as. And you've got like this amazing.
It's a hill.
It's a hill.
Because the hills are alive, right? So
oh yeah, I guess it's
a hill. It's been established. It's been entered into evidence.
That I was running with Maria.
Oh my gosh! How did you solve her problems though?
Oh, I didn't think about that at all. Now I wish I did.
Next thing you're going to tell us you saw a deer or something.
I saw a number of deer. I probably did. It could have been real or not real. We don't know.
It's not funny anymore. Art. Quiet. Let her talk.
Dead horse. But yeah, so it's this amazing view of like all the landscape around and the beautiful like little mode trail down it. So it's extremely picturesque.
Yeah.
To complement a Pretty House.
Yeah. So how are you feeling then?
So I felt pretty good. So my my IT bands had started to feel really tight and weird, which is not normal for me in runs. Like my IT bands haven't bothered me since my obstacle course racing days many years ago. So that was a little bit weird, but it wasn't like particularly painful. It was just that's odd. Foreshadowing right there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You get that? But yeah, so I felt pretty good and it was beautiful and it's a beautiful day and the weather's nice. So,
good. Okay. So then you got to 10 Bear. Or any,
well, was it Stage Road that's in between?
Probably,
I'll just
yes.
make mention there. That's where I went to my crew and was like, oh, my IT band's bothering me. So I tried like rolling it out and stuff like that. And I ate part of this sandwich, which it was appealing at the time, which usually is a pretty good indicator of like, that'll be fine. But it was not fine. It hit my stomach like just wrong.
Oh.
So,
Gotcha. Okay.
I spent some miles, I would say probably like 10 or so miles with some stomach cramping and stuff going on. I was able to sort of jog, but slowly. So I was just trying to keep it at a pace that like that equilibrium. I can, move, but not too fast, or this could go very, very bad
That's
quickly.
right. I'm moving, but I'm not throwing up.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically. So just kept moving, and eventually that pretty much resolved. So that was okay, and I was still in a headspace that was like, okay, this is just a problem that I can solve, and this will pass, and that'll all be good.
Good.
Jamie, one bit that I was curious about, you're talking about the next 10 miles. Eventually, before 10 Bear, there's this kind of gross double section of highway where you're on 106, where you're like on the side of Highway 106 for a little bit. What was that like?
Honestly, I didn't mind it. I actually vaguely remembered from back in 22 when we were training for Vermont. I think you kind of warned me about that section, because we were doing some training run and it was like 90 degrees out and hot, and we were running down the side of a road like with all these cars, and you're like, oh, this is a lot like blah, blah, blah. And so, when it happened, I was like, oh, okay, this is that. And like it didn't really get to me much.
Good.
Gotcha. So what's the best training for Vermont near the New Haven area? Would you say, just as a random question? Alex, answer the question.
I've got a bunch of stuff up in like Bethany, and Woodbridge, and then West Rock, where it's just like a lot of really hilly roads, and you just got like, you go up and like, you want to do it at 7 a.m., but like you should probably do it at like noon or 2 in the afternoon. And you're just like, yep, it's hot. We're going to walk up this hill. But like, I don't know, every time I actually go to Vermont and I either race it or pace it, I'm like, no, it's even slower than that. It's even hillier than that. It's, you have to like almost practice like jogging down these super steep dirt slopes. I don't know. It's like, I think as I get like months away from it, like you still, you like make it a little bit easier. Like, no, it couldn't be that steep. It couldn't be that gross. And you're like, it really is. Especially like one thing but I really feel like you got, if you're going to wear a pack, you have to have a pack on. You have to like expose your body to like the thing you're going to be wearing, the load you're going to be carrying, the inclines you're going to hit up and down, and the heat that's going to be in. Like, I feel like Vermont, like, I mean, it's all specificity matters. Like, you can just go run up and down the canal, but like, it's not, I don't think Vermont's that much about cardio. Like, cardio matters, but like, it's like figuring out like, oh, this shoes give me blisters. Like, oh, these slopes blow up my quads. Like, this food in the heat makes me want to puke, but in the winter it's fine. It's like, you got to learn that in training. Otherwise, like, you're going to have like 8 things are going to go wrong in the race that you've never experienced before. Like,
gotcha. Great. That's a great point. So that's great for the New Haven area. For the people closer to the belly of the Beast Coast, I would go into the mesh. That's my recommendation. If you go into the
then you might never come out.
True. But if you do, you will be trained. You will be a warrior.
You'll have this long beard.
What is that? What is that you're talking about?
So the Mishamasik Forest. If you pull up a map of Connecticut, look around Portland, East Hampton, Glastonbury, you'll see a big green forest that it's basically, I think aliens have sent implants into our minds. So most folks aren't even aware that it's there, or have forgotten about it. That's part of
when we do the Real King of Pain, right? We go into the mesh a little.
That's on the borderlines of it. Yes.
Adjacent.
Yeah. That actually, that touches on it.
Is that the thing where you guys go through the frozen creek each year?
Yes, but no,
I've seen the pictures of that.
Yeah, there's
That was a surprise the first year. I might not have shown up if I read the description of the run.
That's why I haven't come.
Yeah,
Well, I haven't come either.
if you go there though, this has you could easily find 12 miles, 15 miles of dirt roads that are steep and long climbs.
Yeah.
It's just there's not very many flat parts on that dirt road. On the dirt roads like Del Reeves Road and Woodchoppers Lane, goes up by the Shinipsit Trail, crosses over this road. And there's just a couple climbs that are really legit. And, you could do all that. And that would be.
People go to Cockaponsett too.
Yes, it's similar to that, except I think it's steeper and more. It's more specific to that race. I would think. Jay. Well, okay. Yeah, enough said on that. But yeah, look up the mesh and
Okay.
stay on the roads there if you value your life.
Mesh 100, do you think?
I did think about that. Maybe 2026. So, okay, Jamie. So so now we're in Ten Bear. And
so yeah, I get to Ten Bear for the first time.
Yes.
I come down and around the corner and Art's out parking people. He was helping out, he was double timing here. He's both crewing me.
Gotta earn a living.
As well. Yeah.
Is that different than two timing?
I think it's similar. I think
Okay,
they're synonymous.
Feather bedding. No, it's.
But yeah, so he was also helping out with parking people out on the corner. And actually, my husband was there as well. He came out to spectate a little bit.
Yes,
I feel really bad. Yes, Geoffrey Myler, for all the Cultra fans out there. So he drove all the way up. So this was like a 3-hour drive. Then waited for me for probably like 3 hours for my 15 minutes to hang out there. So I was really appreciative. It was awesome that he was there. And Brandon was there as well. And I think that's when Alex and Emily had gone to rest, took a shift, taking naps and things like that. So
and naps were taken. Consciousness was lost.
That's awesome. That's great.
So yeah, they could be fresh later on. And yeah, I felt really good still coming in there.
Yes.
I got some, food. Brandon did something that Alex had recommended, which was putting a towel in the cooler. And so when I came in there, when I got there, he put the towel around my shoulders, which was that was surprisingly effective.
It's like a cold hug.
Yeah, it was
good.
A cold hug.
My daughter's pink swimming towel got to do its job at least one time.
Yeah, I did comment. I was like, oh, Alex has a very pretty towel. But yeah, so it kept its coolness for a surprising amount of time. So yeah, they did good. They did that and put the new ice bandana on, and I didn't have I feel like I didn't have a lot of things I needed to do there. Just refill the pack, refill the water, get some food out of the cooler. And honestly, the heat was not getting to me. I think I was pacing such that I had my ice bandana going most of the time. That it wasn't bothering me, but it was still really refreshing to have that.
Gotcha. Okay, so then you left the comforts of Ten Bear and headed towards, I guess, some other minor
the bog, the abyss.
Yes,
the bog of despair.
Yeah. So how did all that go?
It went poorly. So I left Ten Bear, which was probably, what's that, 47.5 or so miles?
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
So for one, it feels like it should be 50 miles, but it's not. You still have 3 miles to go for it to be 50 miles. So that's a little rough. And I got to the mile 50-ish, 51 aid station. That was great. Still a pretty good mood overall. I was starting to hurt more because my IT bands were bothering me and my quads started to really bother me, and my stomach was like on and off, but it was okay. But I was in good spirits, and I got there and they had giant ice pops, which was amazing. So I had this like 2-foot long blue icy, which was very exciting. I took a funny photo and sent it to a couple people. And that's where I had like a little mini cup of PBR, and sent a couple texts about that. So it was fun. I left, and for a couple miles, it was fun. It was still good.
Okay.
But I'm hazy on exactly where and when within an ultra, but somewhere within that, probably like 55 to 60 time period. Yeah, exactly. For boating, it just slowed down a lot.
Yeah.
So I felt like I wasn't making a lot of progress. And there was a lot of like, in my opinion, bullshitty trails that were just like these double wide. They're not like nice trails. They're just mucky and kind of bumpy and rocky and uphill and
is there
winding.
a climb? As I recall, there's a climb to get up to Margaritaville, right?
Yeah. And then there was my mood had gone downhill before that big climb. But yeah, there's a pretty big climb then going up into Margaritaville. So it just felt like a very slow time, and like the trails were uninspiring, and there were these horse flies that would not leave me alone. I went to an aid station, I bug sprayed, they didn't care. They just like drank that shit up. So they did not mind at all. So I was just like cursing out loud at the horse flies, and I think I was alone for a lot of that time too, which is never really good for me. So, I was just in a grumpy mood. So
Gotcha.
I had, every once in a while, I had have a little bit of service. I actually texted Jock in that. I'm like, we've reached the like, I'm sad and hurt and miserable part of our program.
Why did I do this?
Yeah, basically. And when you're
thinking?
hitting like around 50 miles in a 100-miler, and you're really starting to hurt a lot, and you're not feeling you're making progress, and which is always killer for me, you start to think about how long is this going to take?
Oh yeah.
And I know I should never let myself think about that.
Let's be clear on that, right? Like
you should never.
That is
ever,
not what we do.
You cannot think about that until maybe mile 95, but even then, that can be upsetting.
Yeah.
So I got to thinking about that and doing the mental math, which
you're like, just 15 hours left.
Yeah, because you're halfway in miles, but you are nowhere close to halfway in time. So it's like, oh my God, this is going to be like the rest of my life. I'm going to be in this much pain or more for so long. I have to go through the night. Like, why the hell am I out here?
This
I don't
is not
understand.
what I signed up for.
It is literally what I signed up for, though. So I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me? And so, I knew I'd get like this, and it could turn around, and it's okay. And Jock was texting back some good advice and boosting stuff, and I was like, oh, my quads and my IT bands are killing me. He's like, well, use your hamstrings. And I was like, well, that's the problem with my running form. I don't use my hamstrings, but okay. And actually, focusing on just trying to shift my weight into the hamstrings did help a lot. Well, a little, maybe not a lot.
I gotta I'm just, how does one do this? Like, just so that I understand, like.
So for me, I just really focus on like, okay.
Getting on your toes more?
I don't know. I just really think about using my hamstrings and them firing while I'm trying to do that.
Okay, that's
and I
fair.
think it does probably shift my weight, but yeah. So if I focus, I can kind of do that, but it takes a lot of focus, which I don't have on a good day, let alone that far in. So yeah, so I made my way through there. I went up this climb that was unending into Margaritaville.
Mm.
And there were tears. There were definitely tears in that section. And I was like, trying to pull it back together. I'm like, it's way too early for this. Like, just stop. Nothing is actually wrong. Like, I don't have an injury. Nothing is really wrong. But also when you're just that depleted, like the emotions come to the surface. They bubble their way up. So I came up into Margaritaville, and Art and Brandon were waiting for me. And I was like, nope, we're gonna be fine. We're not gonna cry. And then there was this lady like bawling her eyes out, losing her mind, like to her boyfriend or someone there. And so like, and then Art and Brandon were asking me a couple questions, and I was like, I couldn't.
Yes.
I was like, okay, we're not even gonna pretend. I'm upset.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it is it can be like that. So then we set you down by the van. We had the canopy out and the chair set up, and
Yeah, Art had his like camper van going, and we had some ramen noodles there, which ramen is magical for me always. Like that's a key ultra food for me. I can pretty much always stomach it, and it makes me feel better. So that was definitely helpful. That's when I asked Art like, oh, what comes up next? Like, is it trailer? Is it mostly road? And I could see him thinking like, what does she want to hear right now? And what do I remember of this? So you said something about like, I think it's mostly road. Don't quote me on that.
yeah. Well, I remember that. I remember that I struggled so much coming into Margaritaville. I think I ate a burger and then like went down the road and threw it up, but then puked and rallied. I think like from that point,
Rally.
I think I just felt better going down to 10 Bear. Like, and certainly I was better than my friends that I met on the road, who were doing less well than I was. So
Yep.
at the time. So
yeah, they kind of patched me back up and sent me back out there with my headlamp because I think it was around 7:30 in the evening, so I was gonna head into the dark. And Art was not lying in on this. Like I really started to feel a lot better. I think just seeing people and friendly faces always helps a lot. And aid stations like that, you can kind of really reset and go back out.
yeah.
And also it started getting dark, which I actually love running in the dark. And I haven't done it in a while. Like I didn't actually get much night training in for this one, which I think was okay because it wasn't technical or
It's that time of year. It's kind of weird, like because during the summer, it's different. I mean,
it's hard
if you
to
go
get
out,
night training.
yeah, if you go out and do a night run, that's great. But now, like doing one of those, if you guys have like real jobs and shit like that, so I mean that means like I'm gonna start my run at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
So
and
that's almost like, that's kind of borderline dysfunctional, right? And then I'm gonna, I mean, you can do that, but
although training for the cut, I did that. I
yeah.
ran a night run of a section that I was gonna for sure be at night, and it was the funniest conversation with the Uber driver, like parking at some place that I knew I'd be at like 4 a.m, and having him drive me out at like 8:30 at night and leave me by the side of the road. Like there wasn't even like a pull out like off
I'm going
the road.
to be killed in the woods
like,
now.
And he's just like, you know it's getting dark, right? You're going for a run. And he like didn't want to let me out of his car. He's like, are you sure? You want me to leave you here? So but there's something like, I don't know, just very refreshing about running at night. Actually, I think twice or so I just stopped and turned off my headlamp.
Yes.
Because it just like it's in there. It's like so
primal.
dark. And like you cannot see around you, and it's just a very surreal feeling. So yeah, that was cool. So yeah, I felt a lot better coming out of there. and back
good.
down into Camp 10 Bear again.
And plus the heat goes away, right? A lot of it does.
Yeah.
Which is
Yep.
just such a, it's like night is soothing after a day of getting burned.
Yeah, just hit by the sun.
Yes. Yep. Okay. So then we finally saw you come into 10 Bear.
Yeah, so I came in there and there was like quite the crew waiting for me.
Yes.
So it was like a welcoming committee. Jacki had come up and the full crew was basically there. Alex, Emily, Art, and Brandon. So that was a really fun aid station.
And an upside down neon J too.
Yeah, yes, yeah. There was I've seen a couple of the pictures from that interim period while I wasn't there, and I'm like, wow, a lot of fun was had.
I think there was for me, that was I stepped away for a little bit, to take those photos and just kind of looked in, and it seemed like, you were sitting in the chair with a cup of ramen noodles that looked kind of like a cup of coffee, and then like your friends were gathered around, like your wise, it seemed like a Bill W. story from AA, like where there was like an intervention, like you're gonna be
Jamie,
okay.
What are you doing?
I've been in this position.
Behavior. You can't keep doing this to yourself and to us.
No,
actually,
but it's
it was
all
the opposite. It was, oh, this is great. You're doing awesome. You can do this.
You have to keep doing this to yourself.
Yeah.
You're a rock star, man.
We support you in hurting yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's
The
there's this like great video of you walking. I don't know if it was in or out, and we're all cheering. We're like, yeah, Jamie, and just faintly at the end you go, I don't wanna.
Oh yeah.
We
sum it up.
we like popped a blister. Brandon lanced a blister. At least he's an MD.
Art lanced the blister.
I lanced the blister because technically I'm the least qualified.
Then you had to wrap it up, put your sock and shoe back on, and then walk out. And like if you've ever popped a blister, that it takes a couple of minutes to settle into its new happy place or unhappy place. But it just, and so you got to kind of be like, okay, you know that you're just going to kind of have this weird limp for like 3 minutes and then it's going to be okay. But
it's not always like the most worse at first, but it's going to be better in the long run.
It's not, we're not loping out of like 10 Bear at 11:30. Jamie, I have a question. Were you at all aware? Did you hear us talking about, or were you aware of the cutoffs when we were at Camp 10 Bear?
I had vague awareness of them. I was not thinking about them like actively. I think I had sort of thought about a cutoff and was like, oh no, I'm okay. I'm well in advance of it. But I hadn't really extrapolated like beyond that and what that could mean later in the race.
Have you ever been cut off on a race, Jamie?
I have never chased a cutoff in a race.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a whole level of fun.
It was a weird feeling to start having to think about that, to be honest.
So I'll pull back the curtain just a tiny bit because I had Emily and Brandon, and so I felt like part of my job of being helpful is getting them oriented to the different possible outcomes for the whole weekend, so that we could just all nobody would be surprised by when something was going to happen or where something was going to happen, just so that everybody was on kind of even footing. Jamie could knock it out of the park and run 24 hours, or it's a race where 30% of people don't finish, and none of us are too special for that to happen to us. I mean, I've DNF Vermont. So it's one of those things you just have to kind of be on an even keel and be like, we're going to support Jamie. And if it goes well, it goes well. If it goes medium. And if it goes to shit, then it goes to shit, So, we were always we knew that it wasn't going to be as fast as you could have ever run it, and that was, you were saying that, and we knew that. So it was around Camp 10 Bear where we started kind of peeking at cutoffs and being well, we're definitely going to continue to Spirit of 76. And it's kind of and I emphasized this and kind of leading up to it, is that like that's a messy section. It's this kind of, it can be a spirit breaking section because it's very a lot of hiking, and the downhills are super steep, and none of it's fast. It's, there's some sections that are like really runnable, and this is not. And so you've just come off of 5 miles of downhill road, and then you go right into like the chonkiest section of the course. And so there was a question of like, hey, if it takes us 3 hours to get there, we're going to be right up against the cutoff. If we do it in 2 hours and 15 minutes, then we're good. We're still really good. And so that's kind of, we were just like, let's see how this next section goes, and then we're going to see how the next section goes. But yeah, it was, it was the first time we were like, well, we're here and we're doing this, and as long as you can keep going, we're going to keep going too. But also at the same time, we were just starting to like peek over at the sign. Like, what's the sign say? Like, okay, 12:55 a.m. Yeah. And so at Camp 10 Bear, we're an hour and 20 minutes ahead of the cutoff. And so that's kind of where we're like, okay, this is the job now. So we're going to keep moving well. We got time, but we just got to keep moving well.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So then how did, like, talk us into maybe Spirit of 76. So obviously that's mile 76.
Would stand to reason. I actually hadn't connected that at one point, and was like, oh, that's probably mile 76. Yeah.
And the Spirit of 76, I think, is also the painting, the Revolutionary War painting with the fife and drum, and and all that stuff. So
I never made the connection that it was mile 76 before.
Okay. Well, this is what we call,
obviously just trying to make people feel bad over here.
Cultra exclusive.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Little known facts revealed about the Vermont 100.
Clearly, I've not run it yet.
Listen and find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the benefit leaving Camp 10 Bear was that Alex had warned me that was going to be coming, and B, that's when I got to pick up Alex as a pacer. So that was a huge boost to actually have someone to run with, not running all by myself, which for me is not usually a positive thing, to just be alone in my misery. So yeah, we chatted. Alex, remind me, because a lot of that gets fuzzy. I feel like the beginning of that leg, I was pretty okay.
Everywhere to Spirit of 76, you crushed that whole thing. That was fantastic.
Okay.
And it's hard because the absolute pace is just a dumpster fire. It's like it's so slow that even if you're pretty fit and pretty fast, it's like dramatically slower. And so you kind of have to go more on relative things. So like, I've always felt like if you're passing a bunch of people, you're doing well. If no one's passing you, you're doing medium. And if people are flying by you, like, yikes. So it starts off with like 100 yards through the woods and pretty mellow. And then it goes right into like a 300 or 400 foot, continuous kind of, steep, like the Tower Trail at Sleeping Giant at its steepest parts, but even steeper than that, and it just keeps going. Fortunately, it wasn't that muddy, but so we went. The nice thing was we went out with 4 other pairs of women, the women and their pacers, and it really felt like there was like a group going out into the woods, and I felt that was like, it felt like a good vibe, and also we passed all those groups. And then we passed, I think, 3 more groups in the next couple of miles. So it really felt like, and Jamie was like, oh no, I'm hiking well uphill. And so we were just like crushing. And we jogged a little bit on the joggable parts. And so we weren't like working too hard. And I kept checking, is this too much? Are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. And so that was all going really well. And then we met this really nice lady who did not know that this section was coming.
Oh, she was like a highlight of the whole race. She was
fantastic. She was from Atlanta.
Right?
Atlanta.
White hot rage.
She was like, this this section is giving me white hot rage. I'm
She was
filled
like
with
very
white hot
fiery.
Oh
rage.
my gosh.
Yeah, she was fantastic. Toby.
But also like really funny and like
Yep.
yeah, like things like that. So that was her coping mechanism, and she was correct. I think she finished too, because we saw her later. She finished like maybe 20 minutes ahead of you or something like that. But
Nice.
Looks like Toby Davis.
yeah, Toby, yeah.
Yeah, that must be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we the signature of like the climbs are expected. What's hard is that there are these downhill, off camber, often rutted, steep downhill trail sections that are just like 20% down for like a couple hundred yards. And so, or like 10 to 20% in these alternating pitches. And it's like you really have to kind of skitter. You know, it's like going down a steep mountain road in first gear. It's just all on the brakes and all on the gears. It's like you feel it, your quads revving, even though you're going like 3 miles an hour.
My quads are hurting you just talking right now.
Yeah, it's like, and so it's like if you were totally fresh, we would all bomb down this in a training run, and it would be like so athletic and amazing and like blah blah blah. And it's very, if you don't know what's coming and if you just are looking at the watch, you're like, well, this is failure in motion. But it's not. We're like, she was crushing it. So we get to 76. There's this little in-between guy named called Seabrook Aid Station, which last year was manned, and this year was just like a table with a couple of drinks on it. So that's one interesting thing, is I think there are a couple of aid stations that got, maybe they didn't have the manpower for it, but they got reduced to unmanned aid stations this year. But yeah, so we got in great to Spirit of 76. I don't know how you felt, but
yeah, I felt really good going into Spirit of 76. But like a switch went off when I left Spirit of 76.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys looked great. Like me and Brandon noted, you guys got in sooner than we thought. And it was like completely business. Like you were kind of like goofy when you left Camp 10 Bear, and you got in, and Alex was like, we're not sitting down, we're not stopping. And you were like extremely lucid and kind of just telling us what was going to happen. And it was like, we were very confident at that point because everything like looked so good.
Yeah, because I know we were coming up into Spirit of 76, and Alex was starting to like pre-plan, like, okay, what are the things we have to take care of? What do we have to do? And my sense is that he wanted this momentum to keep going and not to stall it.
That's a great, I want to just take a time out here. So that's a great strategy. Pro tip from Alex there. Like as you're running, before you get to the aid station, don't walk up and say, duh, you know, like as you go there, know what you're going to do. Start to take your pack off. You know, if whatever you can do to kind of prep for that will get you in and out of there. And
well, yeah, actually going into Margaritaville during my misery, I had actually, because I know when I actually get there, I can never remember the things I need. So I'd actually taken notes on my phone of the like,
that's smart
things, and kind of made sure that I had done it.
Okay, I like.
Well, especially important things like you weren't going to get out of Margaritaville without your headlamps, right? Like you can't just like, you know.
Yeah, that was the first one on the.
Well, and there was one where like there was a medication. You know, there was one where we like skipped a medication you wanted, and then in my mind I was like, you're getting that the next time. Like that just like was like sitting at the top of my to-do list. But also there is this thing of like, you know, you Camp 10 Bear had kind of had a long aid station stop at Margaritaville because you needed it, and then a long one at Camp 10 Bear, and it's like it doesn't matter if you're moving well if every aid station turns into kind of 20 minutes in the chair. And so it's like doing what you need to do without kind of getting stuck.
But I think despite our best efforts, leaving Spirit of 76, I just, my legs hurt so much. I think just even the pause of stopping and having some broth and stuff like that. And I didn't sit down because I knew that would make things even worse at that point. But I just remember like heading out of there and just like, oh, this is not how I felt heading in. And like just starting back up was really, really hard. And I got out of there and realized I didn't have kids. You're not supposed to take any Excedrin or medications in a race, but I did. And I didn't have it on me. And I had intended to take it as I was leaving. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Huh. So dealing with some disappointment and maybe
And
some
just a lot of
yeah.
hurting.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So at that point, I was walking a lot more, like even the downhills and the flats and stuff like that. And at some point in there, the bottom of my foot started to really just flare up with a lot of like very sharp pain, which obviously gets very worrisome. And it like jogging was very much not good, and walking, just the rolling motion was very painful.
Yeah. Walking a lot of times hurts more than running.
Yeah,
I
and
think it
that was
hurts,
my
makes
theory. I
more
was like,
blisters.
oh, well, maybe let me try to jog a tiny bit, and it was just worse trying to jog. So we walked for a good chunk there, right?
Well, you come out of 76, and then you do some janky nonsense
And they were very steep downhills
through the woods,
that
and then you
hurt.
pop out onto what's called Rush Meadow Road, which is this like wonderful 3-car wide, well graded, probably 2% downhill road that you take for like a while, and it goes past Bryan, it goes up to and it's like the main thoroughfare there, and it's just like prime running because it's like 2 or 3% downgrade for like 2 miles, and like just your foot was killing you. And so it was just like I wasn't even gonna like ask you to run, because like you literally, it escalated so quickly that you went from like, oh yeah, my foot, and then like literally like you were hobbling and like some tears are coming out of your eyes, and like it was like something was like, I don't know, it almost felt like some little bit of connective tissue or some nerve in your foot was like giving up the ghost, and it was like,
I was like, what the fuck, I'm mad.
So what was next? Next was Bill's, is that right?
Well, I think the in between was Cowshed.
Oh, okay.
And
so there was like a couple of things. The thing is like there was 3 things like hit you at the same time. Like one, your foot hurt, and then that you hadn't had that medication that you wanted, and then there was something else. I think you were just you kept getting either too hot or too cold. You took your jacket on and off a couple of times in this little stretch. And so there was just a lot of like trying to the foot and this and that and the other, and so it wasn't even
and my
just like,
watch was starting to die, which
and like that kind of
very much, but it stresses me a lot.
And so,
oh my gosh, Jamie, I can relate to all of this stuff. It's just like, that's how I get, like when I get in that spot, I'm like, oh, I need to eat. Oh, I need to drink. Oh, I need to take the jacket off. I need my gloves. I need to do a shoe change. I need to do that. And it's like, no, Art, just shut the fuck up and run. Like, that's what you got to do. You got to just move, and like, you got to just do it.
And if it was like 8 miles to go, that would have been different.
Yeah.
But like, it was still at that point, we were like at mile 79.
Yeah.
And so there's like, you still need to fix problems.
You do.
And so you still need to feel so it was just like, it felt like this kind of like, can we like feather the gas and get to Cowshed? But like, that was that point where the 7 groups we'd passed on the way to 76 kind of scooted back past us. And you go up Shedsville Road, and then you do this really interesting, I'd love to do it fresh and in the light. I've never been in there in the light, called Queen Victoria Road. And it's this like ski path that's like this well-graded like Jeep trail.
It's no Queen Victoria.
It's like, if you were fresh, you'd be like, let's go here and train. This is amazing. But like, it was like a long slog on this trail. And
which then just as an aside, you're not allowed on the course anytime except for the race. So don't even think about like replicating this or trying to piece together these words or sending it through AI and asking it to generate a map. Don't do that. God, what a great idea.
Oh, I didn't even think about
let's do that.
asking AI for that.
Don't try to build a bomb with this information.
I mean,
no, wait.
I mean, you can't go. The problem is, I think it crosses private land like 30 times.
It does.
And so that's the worry. You know, there's all these big public roads that you're like, no one's going to stop you from doing that. But don't cut through things. So anyway, it also is like a mile further than maybe we both thought it was. It just was farther. It just was like a big chunk of time. And then you have this like half mile down into Cowshed, and we got to see Rebecca and Dunkel, and that was amazing. So talk about Rebecca and Dunkel.
Yeah, so Rebecca's my friend from the Ramblers, and we run a lot of Tuesday nights together and hang out a lot. And so she's a good friend, and she has the most adorable mini dachshund dog named Dunkel. And Dunkel was there and clearly like pissed she was still awake, but she gave me some lickies, and I was like at that point just, you know, crying, and the dog was licking my tears up. And
so our this next 5 minutes I think is like this was the key.
This is a turnaround.
This is
That's why we had to pause at Cowshed.
Of the whole thing.
Okay. All right.
Because I think there was a big boost from that. I tried to get a charger for my phone, it didn't work, or my watch, and it didn't work. And Rebecca had some secret pierogies that she had stashed off to the side, because normally Cowshed has pierogies, and she, as well as Emily, know very well that pierogies are like magic for me in the middle of the night. And at that point, my stomach was starting to bother me, and I was having trouble eating. And so they had decided not to do pierogies this year. So she had gone out and bought like just some Mrs. T's. I wish she had connected with Emily and gotten Emily's fancy pierogies she had gotten in the city. But Mrs. T's at that point tasted like a, 5-star meal. So she had these things stashed off to the side and gave me this baggie of pierogies. And Alex ushered us out of there. He's like, we have to move. We have to move. So we left, and we were just walking, and I'm eating pierogies, and like instantly my stomach was starting to feel better. And I had gotten some ibuprofen in, and my legs the edge was off a little bit. And so at some point I just told Alex, like, okay, I'm going to finish this pierogi, then I'm going to go pee, and then I'm going to try jogging. And he was very nice. He's just like, okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So that is what we did. I finished my pierogi, which took a while, little baby bites, so I didn't vomit. Went and used the restroom, not on anyone's lawn. And then, we started, I don't know if you could call it a run, actually, because I'm not certain that both of my feet were leaving the ground at any given time, but
sure,
a shamble or a shuffle.
Shuffle.
Sorry, I lost a minute because one of my devices died, so I'm back on another device. But what was really interesting, I'm sorry if I'm either repeating your story, but as you headed out, it was really impressive. You allowed yourself, and I don't know how it was from inside yourself, but from outside, you allowed yourself 1 minute of really feeling bad for yourself and really questioning why you were there, the fact that you were out there. You said all the things that we all feel and we all think, and then you locked the fuck in. And you basically didn't stop running for almost 3 straight miles. It wasn't fast, but like literally we didn't talk. We didn't, like, you just ran. Maybe we hiked a couple of steep uphills, but you just, like, it was just, you gave yourself 1 minute to let the feelings out and say the things out loud.
Might have been more than a minute.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But not by much. but not by much. Like, why did I sign up for this? I shouldn't have signed up for this, blah, 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 blah. And then that just stopped. I didn't stop you. You stop yourself, boop, done. Now, the other thing was that when we left Cowshed, we had 38 minutes to the cutoff. So we'd lost like 45 minutes to the cutoff in that Cowshed kind of hurt foot section. And I don't know if you were aware of that, but it really was like kind of, we either need to run or we're not going to make it.
Yeah, I had started doing the math. I didn't actually know the cutoff for Bills, but I knew, the overall race. And, started doing the math like, oh, if I'm walking like 20-minute miles or slower, like multiply out, like I can't make it.
Yeah.
And
that from there to, let's see. So so it's 5 miles to Bills. And like, that was just crushing the whole time. You were just sled dogging like the whole time.
Yeah, and I also got like a very meta text from Jamie, which I feels like encompasses her mindset, which was a text that goes, "I'm hurting, but going to be getting a second wind." Like she knew it, like it was there.
And well, that's while I was finishing that pierogi, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I guess I'll do it.
Very good.
Yeah,
that is good.
That's awesome.
So as we leave, as we're doing that 5 miles, dawn hits, and so like 2 miles before Bills, we turned off our headlamps. And so like dawn is coming, we're headlamps are off, sun is starting to rise. We're just about to get to Emily and Brandon. We're about to hand off pacing and we're like running. So, and we're yeah.
Alex didn't mind my watch dying so much, but I did. And I was like, I'm not saying it out loud, but I am trying to get there before my watch dies. I even texted Emily with a few things that I wanted ready because I wanted to be in and out of there. But the watch was like number one. It was like, A, my watch is dying. B,
if I fall down, carry my watch across the finish line.
Just put it on. I passed the torch.
And she like runs up to Bills and is like, you can explain it better, but like I thought she had hurt something because she was running with her arms completely motionless towards me at Bills.
If I turn my wrist, the light turns on. I didn't want to waste the battery, so I was moving my left arm as I was running and just trying to keep it motionless.
So my watch, during Notch View, my watch died. I wasn't monitoring the battery because I expected it to last 48 hours, and I had a beacon on, and it drained it in like I think 36 or something like that.
Oh man,
and
heartbreaking.
I didn't even know, and then I was like, oh well, whatever, it'll pick up and save it after the thing. It didn't save it. It just completely I have horrible. I have no record of Notch View on my watch, which is kind of funny because for this particular race, I didn't really give a shit. I was okay with it. Yeah. I mean, it was whatever, it was okay. And I got the race result somewhere, but it was,
my watch died when I was running the cut last year. And I liked having it because I could keep track of paces. Or like how I was moving relative to stuff. And once I didn't have that, I had no idea of like what time it was or how much I was slowing down. It really messed me up. So
yeah, I could see in a race. It's what we're used to, right? So it's hard to mix it up. So let's take us through the finish line here.
All right, so I handed off my pacer bib and they zoomed off into the morning. I gave Emily personally, there's this little bit right after Bills where there is this, in my head, from pacing and running it, this big, awkward grass field, then steep downhill trail descent. And that was exactly what Jamie had been having some trouble with. And so I just dropped that bit to Emily just so that she would know and that Jamie would know that hey, it's okay that the next part is tough.
So Alex, did you give her the same advice that I gave you as you left 10 Bear?
I can't remember the exact details you said.
My advice to you was this: Alex, don't fuck it up. I think that's what I said.
I do remember that because I came in and I felt better and I was like in a better mood than the previous one. And he's like, Alex, don't fuck this up.
No, there was definitely a sense.
No.
When we came into Tender, there was definitely a sense that you're not guaranteed, but like we're heading in the right direction. Like and we had like picked up like 15 minutes on the cutoffs compared to the last aid station.
So let's just to kind of recap. So you were coming out of Cowshed and you were how many minutes around the
38 when we ran out.
Okay, so you were within 38 minutes.
Yeah, and then when we left, something like 50 minutes, 48 minutes when we left Bill's.
Okay,
it was good. Yeah, it was really good, and Jamie looked good. I didn't really know that she had that dark period, and I think Alex pulled me aside and was like, hey, like she was not in a good place, but she's shit hit the fan, but she's feeling better. And me personally, I had just had like 300 milligrams of caffeine and I was not gonna let Jamie drop or not finish because I was like, I gotta run this
She had to burn that or she was going
I got enough caffeine for both of us.
She was like torturing Brandon who just wanted to rest.
Wow.
Yeah. But Jamie, like, I was surprised at Alex's kind of warning because we got through, and as he described it, it was like bullshit downhill. And Jamie ran the whole downhill, and she was like the whole time just saying, "Ow, ow, ow, ow,
That's
ow."
crazy.
And then sometimes fuck.
Yeah. But yeah, did you feel strong then, Jamie? Like, did you just like feel like you want to finish?
I felt abysmal. But it was, I wanted to get done, and I wanted not to miss the cutoff. And also once I would get started running, it was a lot harder to like walk and then start again. So even some of the hills, I just kept running because of running, in quotes, because it would just be too hard to like stop and start.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And we got to the next kind of mini manned aid station, Keating's, and we were like very much on track. We were moving really well. And I tried to keep telling Jamie that. And I think after Keating's, I started to relax a lot. Like I kind of got the sense that like, I don't think she's fading. Like, I don't think this is going to go south. Like, I really think we're going to finish. And I didn't say that yet because we still had like 8 miles left. But I feel like Jamie may have gotten to that point too, because one of my favorite moments from the whole weekend is we're like running. It's serious, we're chanting, and then from kind of behind me I hear, oh my god, and I look down and she's like trying to bend down to like pick up this frog.
It was adorable. It was so tiny. It was so cute. I had to.
Yes.
And I couldn't bend down to pick him up, but
yeah, and she's like, Alex is gonna be so mad if I like DNF because I wanted to like pick up a frog.
I think that's a good reason, actually. That's under acceptable reasons. I was picking up a frog.
Jamie, do you remember the salamander during the cut?
Yeah, and I actually saw a salamander in Vermont, like I think at night sometime too. But yeah, we stopped and examined a salamander for a little while.
But similarly, like 5 a.m. salamander in the dawn, like we're just like going along, and all of a sudden it's just like
magic salamander.
Magic salamander, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking is magic.
We licked
salamander.
it, and that helped us finish.
Right on. That's good.
Oh wow, they're pain-killing properties.
That's right. They are amazing.
You're like rubbing the salamander on your knee.
It's like,
so my experience at Vermont was I struggled. I mean, not I struggled, but then I felt a sense of relief, especially through Bill's. But then when I had 5 miles to go, I felt a sense of relief, and then I think it was just my body saying, "You're going to finish this. You can release the lava."
I have a hard time with a last even like 5 or 4 or 3 miles, like in the cut. Like Julia was pacing me and was like, "Oh, just 4 miles left," and I like broke down crying because I'm like, "But it's so long." Because like that's hard at that point to think about. Well, that's more than an hour still. But at the same time, like it's 4 miles, and I know that I can do that for 4 miles, even if it hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And at 4.5 miles left, there was Polly's, which we got to see Alex and Brandon again, and they were very doting and worried, but like everything was going great. And we did the thing where we planned beforehand. We're like, do you want sweets? Do you want salt? Like bathroom? Like we should pee now so that we like don't have to stop on our like finish push. So it was very efficient, like at Polly's, and then we kind of took off.
Very good. So
well, the nice thing, we got to, you were there with, it was like, I'm not even sure if the signs are right anymore because the course has changed a little bit, but it's like, it's something like 4 to 4.5 miles. And she had 2 hours and 3 minutes. I think we decided to get that done. At that point, like seeing how you move down the road, that was very, very, very big American thumbs up. Yes.
Yeah. At that point, I was pretty sure I could do it because I was like, even if I end up walking, which I don't want to, like.
But that last section is pretty. I mean, that's probably the most technical part of the course, correct? Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, some of those hills were very steep,
long,
and
like rocky and Rudy, as I recall.
Yeah.
I remember there being these little like you go onto a trail off a road and then it would suddenly plunge down, and then come steeply back up, right? Like
yes,
real like heels off ground, real like steep hiking. Like
I think at that point I was telling Emily about the woman from Atlanta and the white hot rage. I was like, oh, she'd be having white hot rage right now. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, we talked the whole last 12 miles. Like there was never a moment of like total pain and silence and misery. So I feel like that was a good sign too. But yeah,
it sounds like it. At that point, Jacki and I were hanging out at the finish line, and we're waiting, and got to see a couple people come in or watched, right at that time. So it was a special, the finish line there during the golden hour is a wonderful place. Actually, the whole time it's really cool. So
yeah, that's got to be very cool.
So tell us about approaching the line and how all that went.
Well, at one point we come up on a sign that says 1 mile left because like it's hard to tell exactly where you are, and so that was very exciting to me. I stopped and I took a picture of the 1 mile left. And Emily, do you want to explain what was off to the left?
Yeah, there was this big like rock assembly, and it spelled out love. And it was so cute right by the 1 mile sign. So she's taking a picture. I'm like, Jamie, oh my God, turn around. There's like this love statue. And she just looks back at me and goes, I don't want a picture of that because I don't feel any love right now.
Like I have lost the capacity for love.
That's right. There is no
So Emily took a picture of the love sign.
1 mile to go is my love language.
That's right. Yes. Mile
I have
and a
no
half.
feelings right now.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, then we just kept shuffling along for that last mile. There were hills and downs, and we were speculating about if this was the last climb or if this was the last climb, but it didn't really matter because it was finally just 1 mile left.
Yes.
And I remember I was going pretty slow if it was a steep downhill at that point. And I remember we got to this one hill that the day before, or 2 days before, I guess at that point, when we had walked up the finish line to like, scope it out. I had seen this hill and I was like, oh, is this the hill that we saw? Because that's like obviously really close. And then we go up it and turn the corner, and I was like, oh no, this is a downhill finish. And I'm like really struggling on downhill right now. It's like baby steps down the steep ones. But luckily it sort of leveled out. It didn't level out, but it was a acceptable grade that I could shamble some more down that hill versus tiptoe. And yeah, it was definitely, couldn't keep the tears completely back when I actually saw the finish line and like, oh, this shit show's over. And yeah, it was an amazing feeling just actually crossing the line. At that point,
it was an emotional picture. I think some of the photos that I took there kind of, in reviewing those, it was really, I could tell it was a powerful moment for you. So
Yeah.
Congratulations on that, and through experiencing the the miracle of ultra running, being in that place and and continuing and turning it around, and pushing through. So I think that's what it's all about, right? Is when you do something that you don't think's possible, just because you did it.
Yeah, exactly. Because thinking back to 50 miles, like I thought it was completely inconceivable that I could be in this level of pain and actually continue and finish this thing and go through all that time. But it's done, and it's amazing how far you can actually push beyond what you think is possible.
Yes. Well, I think, having a great team like you've had, like you had here is
no doubt. There's no way I could have done it without, all the people on this call right now and Brandon.
Yep. So, so good job all around, crew. You guys, you rocked it. And Jamie, excellent job. Another solid, another solid resume run. So, all right. Jamie, have any closing arguments for us, or
any closing arguments? No, I told Art after this race that actually my body hurt more in this than I think at the end of the cut. My feet were a different story. My feet were, abysmal at the end of the cut. But yeah, it was painful. It was a lot of running. I think definitely some lessons learned about just expectations of a run going in. But overall, like an amazing time. I think although there were some downs for sure, I think the major goal of like, hey, let's just have an awesome weekend with some awesome people. I think that is checked off, despite the dark times. So yeah, I think it was really special for me.
Oh, very good.
Good. Really proud of you, Jamie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good. Does anybody on the crew, you guys have any last words before we wrap this up?
No, I just felt really lucky. I think Brandon technically had paced somebody at one point for an ultra, and I know Emily's run a couple of ultras, but in terms of like 100-milers, like you guys, for not having really been in that position, like absolutely understood the assignment, and thank God for your guys' energy and humor and enthusiasm, because and then with Art jumping in and taking that whole shift, like it really was a power crew, and like it meant that the rest of us could just like not be on all the time and didn't have to think all the things and didn't have to do all the things and all that. It was just like really, and like Emily was like an amazing like buddy for like driving up and back to Vermont, and like Brandon, you and Brandon like had all these like medical conversations, and like so it just really, there was just a lot of good vibes.
Science heavy crew over here.
I have to say, it was one of the funniest moments for me was sitting around at 10 Bear and saying, okay, yep, we have a female presenting as delirious with pus infected feet, and what do we do? What do we do? Brandon,
proper blister taping to our MD PhD.
Yeah. I did feel great. I felt very happy to be able to push a medical student out of the way and show him how to tape a toe. So that was
clear the way. I'm the expert here.
That's right.
We have some fantastic photos of that moment, by the way. I can't even describe the pain on my face.
Yeah, it was priceless, right?
Yeah. Oh, it was excellent.
Oh my gosh.
It was special to witness all of you guys working together. Like just how close everybody had already gotten in that short amount of time. It looked like a well-oiled machine. Like everybody just knew what to do and everybody just clicked so well together. It was really beautiful to watch.
I was actually really happy about that, because Emily, Alex, and Brandon don't. Well, Emily hadn't met anyone before,
Right.
and like Alex and Brandon know one another, but not like all the time. And
Yeah, we
the way that
we've
everyone
run, but we
clicked,
haven't hung out socially. Like we hadn't.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. And the way everyone clicked together, it made me very happy. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And
So,
like, yeah, it was like my first experience with any longer type of ultra, even like, 100-miler, absolutely. So it was like the perfect one and the
you gonna
perfect.
do one now?
I got like the whole time I kept telling Brandon, I'm like, I'm waiting for the moment where I'm like, fuck no, like I don't want to do this. And then by the end, I'm like, I guess I'm gonna enter the lottery for next
Nice. Well, we got you next year. But
That's-
yeah, I'm like endlessly grateful for these guys. Made the whole thing, positive and worth it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
no, it was a good weekend.
Very good. And Jacki, it was wonderful having you there as the kind of the icing on the cake at 10 Bear too. I think
you.
like you added just what we needed there.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got to see you twice. That was great.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm sorry I couldn't have like hung out longer. I just had nothing left in my gas tank. So
Oh, no.
and I wanted to be there at
Gotcha.
the finish.
It
So.
was midnight
Yeah.
in the middle of the woods. I think that's enough.
Yeah, that's showing up. Jacki, make no doubt that was showing up for everybody. So that was awesome. All right. So I do want to say thanks to all of our Patreons out there. This episode's been a little bit longer episode, so I'm not going to tack the Patreon on top of that, but probably next episode we'll kind of review that. As a reminder, we are 112% listener supported, so you won't hear our mid podcast roll, or I'm not going to take 20 minutes telling you about our friends at Trail Spanks.
But we'll take 1 hour for the Patreon list.
That's right. We will. I will, because I'm cutting out the middleman, right? I'm not going to tell you guys how great, all these lube companies are, or the fucking feed, for God's sake. Oh my God. The feed. If I hear another fucking commercial from them, I'm going to like shoot myself, even though so I bought stuff from them. Okay. I admit it, but still, because I can't help it. Okay. But like, if I hear another commercial on like the Tour de France or whatever, it's just like, all right, enough. There's other places to buy your food. So there, I said it. Okay. Don't cancel me, people. So anyway, sorry, I don't know where that came from. Anyway, so thank you to our Patreons and to everybody, to all of our listeners out there. If you've made it this far, of course, seek professional help, and we will see you all in a mile
and a half.
So guys, is everybody listening to the podcast?
From the bell.
Is this the Cultra community?
Hold on, wait, I'm not sure. What's the question again?
No, never mind. It's a joke from the weekend. I think Emily froze, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
Never mind. Inside joke. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So if you made it this far, seek professional help, and we'll see you all in a mile
and a half.
All right. All right. Very good, guys.
Sorry we went so long.
Oops. No, that's okay. Sorry.
We're starting again?
No, yeah, we're starting again. No, that was great, guys. Thank you very much. That was I guess we lost Alex here. So but
when he gets tired, he gets tired.
I get you. That's how it is. His battery died. Done. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get out to a ramble because Jamie, I do have your somehow like I never said this before. I found Alex's trunks in my van. Shorts were left in my van.
Well, funny story, because he actually didn't bring his running shorts.
Oh yes, yeah. We didn't mention that part.
Oh yeah, we should have brought that
that was a
up.
good
I
I
forgot
know.
about that.
Well, actually, right now we can add this as extra content. So,
bonus content. Alex
right.
forgot to bring running
yeah,
shorts.
Alex, he had 8 kinds of headlamps, but he forgot to bring his running shorts. So